Okay. Well, I'm HR. Okay, I'm HR too. So I'm gonna suspend myself with pay. All right. Whew. Okay, y'all done my life. All right, so listen, you just gotta laugh sometimes. Shout out to our friends over at the Bravo Shade Room, all right? Because I want y'all to see this is Portia's alleged new boo. Now, we got to shout out the TikTok user Fashion FSC, and then also the Bravo Shade Room for capturing it and putting all this together, right? So, at a recent event that looks to be filmed, we have what appears to be Drew Sidora. I'm assuming that's Drew. No, that's Faye, or is that Phaedra? With the blonde hair, I cannot tell. It may be Phaedra. It's giving more Phaedra now that I kind of look at it. Yeah, it's giving me Phaedra vibes. And then it looks like Drew is beside her, maybe. Anyway, and Angela. And then we have what appears to be Portia's new boo. Now, you guys remember that she told us just the other day that she had a girlfriend of sorts, okay? Somebody she's talking to, a friend girl, somebody that she's, maybe spending a little time with. But fans believe that Portia Williams' new girlfriend is Patrice Sway McKinney after she was spotted introducing her during filming. Now, I see somebody here says McKinney as in Demetria McKinney's sister. Come on, Candy, let's go find a studio in Puerto Rico and drop some beats. Someone else says sexuality as a storyline. Which camp do you fall into with this situation? I said in my previous video, I'm not shocked that Portia might be dating a woman. It does not surprise me given what we've known about her from previous seasons and what has been alleged about her from back in the Bolo days, even as recent as last season with her saying, "Oh, I kiss Candy in the club, you kiss Candy in the club." How do all roads lead back to Candy? Okay. Anyway, so my thought is with this whole situation, um, this is interesting to me because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Drew and Ty of it all. Does it not? I mean, it's given hints of Drew and Ty, but unfortunately, Drew could not give us many details as to the particulars of her relationship. And so now Portia has scooped this story for herself. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But just a little bit more details about Sway. You can see here that Portia is liking her photos, fire emoji, heart eyes. Portia showing love in the comments, more love in the commentation section. All right. And you can see that they are indeed following each other. All right. So what say ye? Do you feel like this is Portia's, new? I mean, is it an on-screen love affair or is it a real life love affair? Mm. 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 What do you think? I mean, here's my thing. This is, and I'm kind of gonna just leave it here, right? It's not surprising to me because where else does Portia have to go with her story, right? She's gotten married. She's been married on the show. She has, been with Dennis on the show in terms of like the relationship, and then having a child with him, and then she's got married to Simon. We didn't see the marriage per se with Simon, but we did see their relationship on her show, Portia's Family Matters. And now that she's back on the show again, we see obviously the divorce. And so the show tends to like to show women in relationships. And I don't know if you guys have seen Kelly's Instagram as of late as well. And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying that the ladies, I'm not saying, let me find Kelly Farrell's Instagram. I'm not saying that they putting on for the cameras. I'm just saying that there is usually a bit of pressure to showcase some level of relation when you're on these shows, which sometimes causes the ladies to, present a relationship that may or may not, in fact, be as genuine seeming sometimes as we might like to think that they would be, right? And we know when it feels like that. And so, even with Kelly recently, I feel like we've got the hints of love because when I'm with you, I know I'm fine. And there's hint of romance here, right? I don't know if you saw it. I mean, she looks fantabulous. Like, I mean, there's always seemingly a lot going on with her, but I think it's because she is so petite. But it seems as though there's a leg here and some. I don't know what's going on, what we're supposed to glean from this, except that there could be some love in the air. And so it just makes me wonder as I see both of these ladies sort of coming out with their, suitors or whatever they may be, if there's any extra added pressure to, have someone in a relationship to film with. Regardless, if they are, I truly wish them the best, and I hope that they are happy. Okay, hope that they are indeed happy. But I would, I, I can't. I don't even know if I could do this today. I'm reading your comments. Can we start over? Like, I would like to start this whole thing over. Like, I really would. I'm like, okay. All right. So there we have it with the romance of the ladies of Atlanta, the ladies who lunch in Atlanta, right? I cannot read your comments right now because I just can't look at them. All right. I am seeing a thread of comments that I cannot acknowledge because I'm trying to stay focused. Okay. um okay. Love and hip hop. Let's get to that real quick because that is a hot mess. Okay. Um, so did you I don't know if you guys happen to catch this latest episode or not, but it was a hot mess. It was indeed a hot mess. And at the center of this hot mess is Ashley and Zane. No, I'm looking at my phone because somebody said I'm looking away to avoid y'all. I'm really not. I'm looking at my phone because I want to pull up the description for Love and Hip Hop. I like to read you guys the description as we're recapping the episode. So it's season 13, episode 14. Don't hate the player, hate the game. The fallout from Mama D's revelation continues as everyone tries to find out just how cool Selma really is with Cooley. Some of the group escape Hurricane 24 and make it rain at the club for Erica's bachelorette. All right. I don't really care to talk nothing about the bachelorette. I want to talk to you guys about the fallout from Mama D's very messy announcement about Selma and 24 and the man Cooley or whatever his name is, and Sierra telling Mama D all of this information. After Mama D tells this information, of course, 24, I'm just going 24 hours, he literally explodes, right? He is literally devastated. And you see Scrappy and Lil Zane trying to run and console him. But I think it's hard to console this man given that Mama D has just outed this news. Scrappy, that's your mama that said this. So I'm looking at, I would imagine in his mind, he looking at you crazy. But Zane, you also knew about this information and you ain't say nothing, regardless of whether or not you're looking for the right time or not. Bro, the moment to tell him would have been before this trip, and it would have definitely been before this 9-year anniversary. Period. Okay. I just feel like, right, Angela, I do feel like 24 Hours is blinded by his love for Selma. But what I can say that I admire about that is this. I admire that the man did not wholly decide to listen to everyone else without talking to his wife first. I really do admire that, because I think in this situation, it's very easy for someone to say, "Oh, okay. Oh, that's what she doing. That's what she doing." I think that he is supposed to want to believe his wife more than he is Mama D. Period. And I feel like I hate that Mama D relished in the release of this information on their anniversary. I do not like that at all. I just feel like there was a hint of, she had too much glee in this whole situation. And I don't like that. I don't like that. And Sierra, they got to call Sierra on, because Sierra on live talking about who know money monsters and whatever else she talking about. She always got the biggest bouffant in the back of her head. I don't really know, like, how they do it. Like, I know she got a hair salon. It'd be a lot going on in the back of her head. And I would not normally talk about this, but y'all know sometimes when something irks my spirit, I just be trying to figure out what is happening back there. It's really sometimes giving me Bride of Frankenstein, because there's so much in the back, and it's always disturbing to me. It was even disturbing to me through the phone. So anyway, I digress. So she is like, and they got to basically pry it out of her. Girl, did you tell Mama D this? Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. So Carly and Spice, they then decide that they need to call the Coolie guy. They need to get him on the line. Okay, so they get the Coolie guy on the line, and he's just cheesing in the phone. They're like, "Did you sleep with Selma?" He's like, "Yeah." I ain't never seen. Now, later on, Jock is going to say this. Jock is going to say, I don't know what kind of man would run around bragging about this. This is my mindset. Who people sleep with, I don't really care about, right? Like, if somebody's sleeping with somebody, that's their business. When you decide to tell the world who you sleeping with, you are now putting that person's business out there. So now it just sort of makes you think, like, everybody that Cooley has slept with should probably now know that he is probably telling your business as well. That's number one. But number two, I don't understand why he's so excited about it. I don't know if that is cool for him because it introduces him to the show. And now he is by de facto a cast member on this show in some way, shape, or form, or maybe working his way into becoming a cast member. And it just kind of like, that's a very interesting entry, but we've definitely seen this type of entry before onto this franchise. So let's cast him to the side for a moment, because I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him as we move forward. Let's get back to 24. 24 Hours does not want to be consoled by anyone right now. And I think in real life, Scrappy and Zane, y'all should have let him go. Y'all should have let him have his moment, his time to himself. But instead, y'all keep trying to press the issue with him. If you did not tell him before Mama D told him, then there's nothing else for you guys to communicate about. Unless you're just continuing to try to egg him on. Maybe producers are telling them to keep talking to him so they can get more of his rage And to that, I say, I just feel like it was cruel and unusual punishment because clearly this man is really, really distraught. It's his 9th anniversary. This is something he will never forget. And I just think that it was cruel of Mama D to tell him in that way so publicly. It was also cruel to try to continue to have this conversation with him while he's clearly upset and clearly going through it. And I think if anything, especially Scrappy, maybe not so much Lil Zane, because I feel like Lil Zane has turned into a Tasmanian devil. But I do feel like Scrappy should have known at some point in time to say, all right, y'all, cut the cameras. Let him have a moment to himself. Cut the cameras off. We got like at some point, we gotta like stop this. The only thing that would have been a maybe commitment to show would have been him talking to his wife. But otherwise, she's calling him. She can't reach him. So now she's worried. She's concerned. And the gag is allegedly she is still like sending allegedly Snapchat messages to this young man. Okay, now I've told you what should have happened, but that is not what happened. Ultimately, because they didn't follow my advice, Scrappy and Lil Zane are now they're all like, the moment is getting heated. And as I always tell y'all, when the energy is going up, something is about to go down. And then next thing you know, indeed it does. At some point, it turns into a situation where honestly 24 hours don't want to see nothing from Zane. Zane is continuously trying to insert himself. And it's like, bro, like if you had your moment to say something, you didn't say nothing. So now it's too late. Move on, move around, go back to Ashley. But what he does is he's still trying to have this conversation. And at a certain point in time, it turns into him versus Scrappy. And Scrappy basically pushes Lil Zane out the way. And Lil Zane at that point wants to get buck, and security basically takes him out. So, meanwhile, Selma does arrive. Okay. She arrives on the scene, and it's just I can't really give you heads or tails of where that is going, but it Selma, you're gonna have a lot of explaining to do in this situation, and it makes me curious as to why you would join this show knowing that you are playing telefono or whatever it is with this other guy. Like, why would you even come on the show with that? If you wanted to have all of that going on, then you probably should have been like, oh no, but I am not doing that show. The smart thing for you to do would have been continue to live your life off of the TV and continue to hop on stages or do whatever you was doing to make money beforehand. But hopping on this show and putting your marriage in jeopardy for a check that I'm sure is not that much, especially given that it's your first season, it just was not worth it. It sounds to me like you was having your cake and eating it too, allegedly. Okay, we don't know this to be according to. If you're denying, okay, fine. If you're denying, I don't believe it. Okay, there we go. But if you were having your cake and eating it too at that point in time, then you probably just should have stayed off TV and just kept it pushing. Sounds like you was living the golden life anyway. So why would you even need to bring it to TV? All right. I don't get that. Especially because she presents almost like a little bit of a Stepford wife type of vibe. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like she just seemed very prim and proper. She seemed very much about her husband, about her relationship. And I just think that if that's the image that you wanted to maintain, then again, keep that off of television. Like you didn't need to be here. So now they done brought you on the show and they done made it made y'all both look crazy. For what? For what? What type of check is that? Meanwhile, Zane and Ashley, oh my God. So here's the thing. Last week, I did tell y'all, I do feel like Ashley has the right to be asking questions when she does ask, but I also feel like, girl, if you gotta also be prepared for what you get back when you do ask these questions, right? These people are seasoned OGs at this game, and if they don't want to play with you, they are not going to play it with you. And at this point in time, you have to be picky and choosy about who you playing with, right? And so what I mean by that is you can't play with Spice, Carly, Mendices, Rennie, and Mama D. You can't play with all of them people at the same time. You're gonna have to pick and choose. Oh, not to mention Scrap, 24 hours now. Like, you cannot play with everybody. All right. Because if you keep playing with everybody, you're gonna put yourself on an island. It doesn't matter how entertaining y'all might be, right? And honestly, in these series of scenes that we see with Ashley and Zane in different environments, whether it's a lunch, it's a tasting, or whatever the case may be, y'all are continuously setting yourselves up for failure by trying to point out everybody else is cheating and whatnot, right? Because here's the thing. Carly is right about Mendices and Gandy to a certain degree. At the end of the day, you're trying to convince Mendices, who is not going to, Mendices, this is something I do respect about him, is that Mendices is not going to play with y'all for this check. Okay. He gonna show up, but he not gonna give you nothing. Okay. Give them nothing, right? He is not gonna give you anything but a couple of one-liners, you know what I'm saying? And he's gonna keep it pushing. And he was funny in this episode to me. You could tell he wanted to yoke Lil Zane up, but he know better because he done been to the place. All right. And he not trying to go back there. And he is also like, listen, when he was doing crimes, it was so lucky that he was not with any of these people, because they all would have got because can't none of them keep their mouth shut. I do respect, there's one thing I do respect about him, is that he's not willing to throw him and Yandy under the bus, mostly himself, really, for the sake of giving these people any information or ammo that they can continue to use against him. He's just not going to do it. And to me, I feel like that's what you're supposed to do, right? In your life, your family, your relationships with the general public, you do not have to give them any more access than what you want to give them. And to be quite fair, their perception of you is not your problem. It's theirs. Now, I don't know whether or not he should be on reality TV with that attitude, but in real life, that's how you're supposed to be. I'm not giving you anything. I'm not giving you anything. You can think what you want to think. I don't care, but I'm not telling you what's going on in my backyard and in my home. You don't need to know that. We are grown adults. You deal with what you got to deal with. And I think what Ashley and Zane are trying to do in trying to out these people and make them come out and say things, it's like they don't have to tell you nothing. They don't even barely know y'all. Y'all barely go here. Zane is trying to tell Rennie that she cheated the way he treated, and she's like, we ain't the same, boo. We ain't the same. Stay out of other people's business. Okay. Carly trying to tell them, stay out of other people's business. Stay out of other people's business. Something that Ashley says that kind of struck me in this episode, that kind of made me take a step back from her. She said, I can't, something to the degree about how she can't be herself, or how she can't, get to know these people. And it's like, you don't get to know people by knowing their skeletons first, right? You get them to open the door to their homes, and then they let out the skeletons in their closets. But first, girl, you got to make it past the front door. And you're not able to make it past the front door to get to the closet in no way, shape, or form. Do you think anybody's going to give you any tea about themselves, especially if they don't know you well enough to be giving it out to you? No, you don't even get a cup of tea at this point. Okay, you can't even make it into the threshold of the home. And I'm using an analogy here or a metaphor, I should say, to help you understand how I feel about what Ashley is trying to do and how she is trying to make friends within this group. And furthermore, I do think that there is something to be said for the way Zane interacts with some of the women. Now, granted, he is on a show called Love and Hip Hop, and half the cast or a majority of the cast is women. So it is not like he is going to be able to get away from having interactions with women, whether they be pleasant or whether they be unpleasant, right? And so I just think that more often than not, he tends to find himself in hot water with these women. And that in itself is a problem. Whereas you can see from Mendices, when these women question him, he manages to actually pull himself, extract himself from the situation, not get his hands dirty with the people, and he will leave and exit a scene. And in the times that he exits the scene, at least in this episode, I did think that they were warranted. Um, yeah, that's how I feel. I did feel like Zane and Ashley were like starting little fires everywhere in this episode, and I get it. You know, I feel like I get that they're trying to find their place within this group, but I also think that they're going about it the wrong way. And the perfect example of that was the situation with 24 hours. Perfect example. Had you told 24 hours about this situation well beforehand, instead of looking for a moment to try to pull him to the side to tell him alone, a more seasoned vet, aka Mama D, I don't like how she did it, is gonna come into the scene, sit down. Okay, let's get this party started. 24 hours. This is what I heard from Sierra and oh boy about your wife. And I'm sorry to tell you, but it had to be said. I'm gonna say it in front of everybody. And now my job is done. Somebody hand me my check. The queen must go home to the palace. Okay. That's how you do it. If you're gonna be on this type of show, you gotta get it in and get it out. All right. So you should have pulled that man aside a long time ago before Mama D had the chance to drop that bomb, because she flew all the way down there for that, which is slightly disturbing to me. Now I ain't gonna be the ones. Not you. What you won't hear me say is this: you won't hear me say Ashley and Zane need to go. Okay? No, 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 no. Au contraire, mon frere. Let them people keep on messing up. Because they have provided a whole heaping heck of a lot of entertainment, okay? And I'm sure some of the OGs are just sitting back and thrilled, like, "Ooh, God, I ain't got to do that work." But it's they also make themselves easy targets for those OGs as well. So, I mean, it is what it is. Next week it looks like things heat up even more for Lil Zane and Lil Ashley, you know. And so we'll just have to see how that plays out for the two of them as they continue to alienate themselves with just about everybody on the cast. All right, y'all. So listen, thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. Thank you for your patience as we went live today, and I did not know we were live. Thank you for the love. I appreciate y'all as I scroll through Instagram while you guys wait diligently on me to start this live. That to me is like, I hate messing up in any way, shape, or form. So I just appreciate y'all so much. It has been a week, okay? It has been a week. And yeah. Just a couple of quick news pieces for you guys, housekeeping. For those of you guys who are, if you're looking for Maldives money, let me tell y'all what that is. Maldives money, okay? I'm going to tell you how to go to the Maldives for the free. Yes, if you want a complimentary trip to the Maldives or to the Amalfi Coast or to Zanzibar, from which I just came, or to Bali or to Thailand, then you want to tap into the worldwide. Just text worldwide, all caps, to 202-918-3386. I'm going live at 7 p.m. tonight, and I will tell you how to do that, plus get paid. Okay. So that's number one. But number two is we are going to Vietnam in March of 2024. It is going to be March 14th through the 20th. I have about 20 spots available, and I have 8 early bird spots. Early bird spots are for people who want to reserve early. They will get $250 off. The price for the whole thing is relatively inexpensive anyway. But it is our next group trip after we go to Cape Town in November. So if you're interested in getting in on that, definitely I put a link in the description down below so that you can actually just pre-register to get the email when the trip launches on Friday at 9 a.m. And so with that being said, I'm looking forward to traveling again with y'all because it has been so much fun. We have people on the trips who have been to literally every trip. So I'm excited to do it all over again. All right. With that being said, y'all, I love y'all. And I will catch y'all in the next video.